Officially, it has been acknowledged that Nigeria's population has hit 198 million people. In other words, more people to be fed in a situation climate change experts say there's likely to be less food by the year 2030. This, no doubt, sounds alarming considering Nigeria's acquired status of a net importer of food in recent time. But the renewed impetus by the Buhari administration to drive its economic diversification policy using agriculture may just be the solution to a much desired food security status. To achieve food security and self-sufficiency, however, agriculture experts are emphatic that critical bottlenecks within the system need to be re-examined. Dateline 360 this week will therefore x-ray some of these issues bordering on post-harvest losses, preservation methods and storage facilities in ensuring Nigeria's new agricultural revolution truly creates value and security. We're glad you joined us. Welcome. I'm Hawa Salihu Adama. Ending hunger is not only possible, but it is both a moral and strategic imperative. Words of Hillary Clinton. This is Dateline 360. Thanks for rejoining us as we look at an issue of global concern today. One which Nigeria, despite her huge natural resources, is not immune. According to the Food and Agriculture Organization, every country is expected to have in stock strategic food reserve enough to last 3 months at any point in time in case of emergency. With population increasing daily and resources becoming scarce, what's the Nigerian situation in meeting this expectation considering its peculiar case of several years of neglect of the agricultural sector? Musa Baba Aliu is on standby with the answers.
Okay, yes, Hawa, with Nigeria housing about 200 million people, the federal government has successfully established 32 grain reserve silos in 32 states across the federation with the storage capacity of 1.2 million tons. 7 of the 33 silos are 100,000 capacity, and this one here in Kwali, Abuja is one of them. The 100,000 capacity silos are located in Abuja, Bayelsa, Borno and Ekiti states. Other states are Imo, Kebbi and Zamfara. Apart from one of the 2 silos in Kwara State that was built on 11,000 metric tons capacity, the remaining 25 silos were 25,000 capacity. Sule Haruna is the director in charge of grain reserves in the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. I asked him if all the 33 silos are functional.
I want to say that yes, you see, if you look at these silos we are talking about, 1.3 million metric tons of silos, it will take the ministry well over 93 billion naira to stock these silos. And of course, we all know that that is far above our usual annual budgetary provision in the ministry. And long before now, what the ministry intends doing is this. Since this is far above the allocation being given to the ministry, just like in every part of the world, Nigeria too have decided to key in by concessioning some of these silos to the private sector.
Currently, the federal government has stocked close to 26,000 metric tons of food in 11 silos in 11 states as the government orders purchase of more grains.
They are dedicated for storage of cereals, that is grains. And these grains, of course, we are talking of maize, millet, sorghum, soya beans, and paddy rice. And apart from that, we also have warehouses being attached to the silo complexes whereby you can store dairy as well and other food items.
Rural farmers, on the other hand, relied on local storage facility like this one to store their produce. Though the storage facility is effective to a certain level, issues relating to mycotoxin and aflatoxin and use of harmful chemicals against insect infestation remain major concerns. Worrisome is the manner in which vegetables and fruits are being wasted due to lack of good preservation system.
Most of the time they are on the main road. They'll pick it, bring it into the room where there's moisture built up. And once there's moisture built up, just enough for fungi to survive. You see it growing and spreading on the agricultural commodities, on the tomatoes. And then they don't even know, maybe some of them may know, most of them don't even know the effect of this fungi on human health, even the health of the animals.
And presently, government has embarked on, establishment of fruits and vegetable warehouses. And we are looking at 9 centers around the country for that purpose. And in no time, that will come on board.
However, with the investigation carried out, coupled with the records of the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, Nigeria remains food secured, courtesy of the President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. However, agriculture economists insist that storage of food for rainy day remains paramount.
No doubt about that, Musa, and that's the main worry, especially when viewed within the context of Nigeria's potentiality in food production. Nasarawa State, a conglomerate of farming communities embedded in a circle of losses and wastages of crops in the process of production or after harvest, is a case study, as captured by Tessie Omeri.
For every farmer, the harvest season comes with lots of expectations of reward by Mother Nature for hard labor. However, findings show from the farm, stakeholders start counting their losses arising from inefficiency to manage. According to the Faculty of Agriculture, Nasarawa State University, farmers on annual basis record losses between 50 and 60% of perishable crops in the entire value chain, cutting across production, marketing and processing.
Well, to buttress the point, it is the season of vegetables varieties at this popular market here in Lafia, where production capacity is very, very high for the farmers. But the loss runs into millions of naira as a result of lack of storage facilities or probably processing factories.
Marketing of perishable crops is risky business. There's need for big-time buyers like agro-processing industries.
If you can look at the nature of the environment, where we store the yams is not proper. So for that, most of the times we encountered damages, which brings setback to the business.
It will affect us because nobody will want to buy something that is not fresh. Everybody prefers to buy something that is fresh.
If we are looking at most of the things that we are talking about perishable, is like, so you have tomatoes, which is you cannot harvest it and store it for a long time without processing it. You look at other vegetables, like even the leafy vegetable that we harvest, it has to be transported to either where the market is immediately.
Beyond lamenting about the losses incurred by participants in the value chain, Nasarawa State University says it's working on an initiative.
How we can bring code up and install this, it works with like a refrigerator. It's a big cold room, but using solar energy, so to preserve whatever thing you put inside through the night.
However, there is a call to action by all relevant stakeholders in order to tackle the issues that will ensure that farmers do not incur losses in the sector.
A call to action, Taisi, which still staying with North Central Nigeria, where Austin Anyebe from Kogi State says is desperately needed at this time. In this confluence zone, traditional methods of food preservation, we understand, are the only available option.
The states located in the confluence of the two great waterways, the Niger and Benue, produces crops such as cassava, maize, rice and sorghum. Though the farmers are mostly peasants, they produce enough tons of staple foods to feed their people and the neighboring states. This is aside vegetables grown all year round through irrigation system. To guarantee availability of these food all times, farmers engage in different traditional methods of preservations. Cassava, for example, apart from processing it into gari, are preserved by the women farmers into pellets, which in turn mill into flour for different kinds of food and even industrial starch using the sun energy.
They go dry for sun, but they go peel and put them for water. Okay. After they carry on, now they go dry. For sun? For sun.
The preservation of maize is also not different, as not much preservatives are needed for storage in silos or bags.
I go put them for sun before I hide them. You know, go spoil.
See, when they carry something store, they get chemical that they sell for us. If you tie that chemical, we'll put on inside the thing, no go spoil. This maize, where you see, so they get chemical, what they buy, go carry mix them. After we mix that chemical, they no go quick use them after 3 months before they will start eating. If not, if you put them immediately, if you leave them like that, you go spoil.
Lokoja also has advantage of dominating in the fish market. Blessed with the great waters, fishing is a major occupation of the dwellers. Because what the fishermen supply to the market cannot all be consumed fresh, they have to be preserved for future use. Again, this requires special preservation skills.
The fish, fresh one. After you buy it, you go dry it. When you dry it, you put them for basket. You carry and come market. If you sell them where you remain, you carry and go house, you still put them for fire again. May you dry them, or market day, you still bring and come market.
If I buy the fish, fresh one, I dry them. If you person come buy from my hand, that person go come put them for fire small because for me you no get maggot. If you don't get fire, I go put them for sun small. Sun go they dry and small.
It is a combination of all these preservation methods that guarantee steady supply of food into a market like this, explaining why people from neighboring states come to Kogi State to patronize food. But experts say that Nigeria's quest for food security can be achieved if there are better ways of preservation methods. In Lokoja, Austin Anyebe reporting for Dateline 360.
Thanks, Austin. Food for thought, especially if one considers how safe these preservation methods are. And that's why our next report leads us to the Institute of Agricultural Research, Summer Zaria. The mission by Tina Toro is to bring us to speed on the mandate of the Institute in educating farmers on crop production, preservation and value addition for the domestic and export markets.
For Nigeria to ensure food security as well as earnings through export, research is key. Hence, the Institute for Agricultural Research has continued to carry out research to improve crop production.
Nigeria today is the number one producer of cowpea in the world, and also the number one consumer of cowpea in the world. The second producer of sorghum in the world, following the United States of America.
To ensure improved crop production and a bumper harvest, the Institute for Agricultural Research has developed 53 varieties of maize that are resistant to diseases and tolerant to drought.
Our maize varieties have been incorporated with or biofortified with some quality parameters.
One of the challenges confronting farmers in Nigeria is the issue of post-harvest losses. The Institute for Agricultural Research has, however, gone a step further to fabricate silos to ensure that farmers get value for their money.
The solar dryer is another component developed by the Institute using locally sourced materials to address post-harvest losses. Since vegetables are known to have short shelf life, farmers have improvised ways of making them stay fresh for longer through the use of these baskets to transport them for long distances.
So if we put it inside, you never damage from here to Lagos, for different parts. Anywhere we carry them to there is no any problem.
The Institute for Agricultural Research has recorded milestones in making agriculture a viable venture through the fabrication of various farm machineries comprising harvesters, threshers, tillers, groundnut oil extractor, among others, to meet the needs of farmers.
With modern communication, ICT technologies, using the handset on the mobile set, we have the Farmers Helpline, where farmers can ask questions in a toll-free line directly.
With adequate funding and necessary support, the Institute can reclaim Nigeria's place as one of the agricultural hubs in the world. In Zaria, Tina Turu, Dateline 360.
Very well, Tina, that's the goal. However, let's join Habibu Hussaini in Jigawa State for a one-on-one interaction on how they are taking advantage of the storage facilities provided.
The state has the agricultural potentials to feed the country, but lack of good and modern storage facilities is affecting the farmers' productivity. Produce like millet, sorghum, rice, wheat, coffee and sesame are mainly cultivated in abundance in every part of the state, but storage issue is always the farmer's nightmare. To support farmers, government established storage centers with silos of million tons capacity to store grains to help the nation's exportation power and achieve food security. The idea is gradually failing, as most farmers said they do not have access to these facilities, and none of the official concerned ever briefed them on how it could be utilized.
We in Jigawa State here, we patronize storage facility for storing our grains. The importance of patronizing that area is quite very clear and so important, to the extent that one, when you take your farm produce to such place, you have no any fear. It is just a matter of recording and taking an inventory that if farmer A has brought 100 bags, farmer B has brought 20 bags. And
the soil is very important. It will keep the grains for so long without damage.
As you could rightly see behind me is a local silos, mostly used by grassroots farmers to store their produce, mainly grains, as they could not have access to government-owned modern facilities where they can store their produce, mainly grains such as millet, sorghum, rice, wheat, coffee and sesame. They appeal to government and all the relevant stakeholders to design measures that will help reducing farmers' wastages due to lack of good storage facilities.
We want to have a warehouse where we will have an aggregation center of our farm produce. So by doing that, a lot of things will be achieved. One, the issue of spoilage of farm produce at store, that one has been eliminated.
We can keep our crops very safe. That is why we used to appeal to federal government to help small-scale farmers with silos. That small ones, which the capacity is not more than 500 bags.
As at the time of filing in this report, all effort to speak to authorities managing the silos owned by government in the state proved unsuccessful, as they could not speak to us or allow us entry to have access to the facilities. From Duse, Habib Hussein, NTA News.
The life of a news reporter there. Many thanks, Habibu. And the Southeast experience will be our last shot this week. Susan Eze is our guide.
If all the programs carefully packaged by governments at all levels to increase food production are anything to go by, then one can say that the future is bright in terms of food abundance. The question, however, is there a corresponding effort to preserve the excess?
Rice, which is one of the crops for which Enugu State has the comparative advantage to produce in commercial quantities, is in recent times recording appreciable increase in its production due to federal and state government support programs for farmers in the state.
We have 17 local governments in Enugu State, and 8 out of
of that 17 local governments are doing well in rice production.
With this gradual increase in rice production and plans to achieve same in other crops like cassava and sorghum, the need for modern preservation and storage facilities becomes most imperative. In the meantime, however, some rural farmers use traditional means to preserve and store their produce, while the advanced ones use warehouses, as there is no functional modern storage facility like silos currently in the state. The existing one at Asata Mine area in Enugu, built by the regional government, has since gone moribund. Okay. However, the state government assures farmers that plans are on to reactivate the silos and also build new ones. Beyond the provision of storage facilities for agricultural produce, governments are also advised to create value chains by developing the agro-processing sector through partnerships with the private sector.
Beyond the quest to conform to international best practices in agricultural production and preservation, the challenges of climate change and its effect on agriculture has made it imperative that food must be saved when you have it in abundance. After all, there is wisdom in saving for the rainy day. So, structures like these could come to the rescue.
An all-round rescue, I'd say, Susan, as Joe Biden, a former U.S. vice president, puts it. Investment made to ward off food insecurity and prevent its recurrence can prevent the vicious cycles of rising extremism, armed conflict, and state of failure that can require far larger commitment of resources down the road. The Buhari administration is prioritizing agriculture as a rebound measure. Thus, experts say, demands collective commitment not only for food sufficiency, but national security. Send us your comments, questions and suggestions on Dateline 360 at nta.ng or at NTA News Now. We appreciate your time. Many thanks and bye for now.